Hidden turmoil behind Diana's funeral. Her body was kept in a makeshift morgue. William refused to walk behind the coffin and the Queen hid TVs at Balmoral to protect her grandsons. It was one of the most watched events in history, with 2 billion people tuning in worldwide and 2,000 attending the ceremony at Westminster Abbey. Now details of the fraught preparations for Princess Diana's funeral are set to be revealed for the first time in the Channel 5 documentary Diana, 7 Days That Shook the Windsors. With just a week for the funeral to be arranged, tensions understandably ran high as the royals battled with Downing Street over arrangements, such as whether William and Harry should walk behind the coffin, with the older prince initially refusing to take part in the procession. The documentary also reveals how Paul Burrell and Diana's chauffeur Colin Tebbit had to set up a makeshift morgue when they went to Paris to collect her body from the Petit-Salpêtrière hospital, bringing in fans to keep the stifling August heat at bay and hanging blankets on the windows to deter photographers. When news of Diana's death reached the royals in the early hours of the morning, they decided to delay telling William, 15, and Harry, 12, who were holidaying with the Queen at Balmoral, rather than waking them with the tragic news that would change their lives forever. The monarch was so worried about the boys hearing traumatizing details of their mother's death, she ordered that all TVs and radios be hidden. When the boys were told the heartbreaking news, Harry begged his father to let him accompany him to Paris to collect her body, but was made to stay behind. Much of the tension among the funeral committee, which was made up of representatives from the royal family, number 10, the police and Diana's family, is laid bare by Tony Blair's former head of government relations Angie Hunter. The most tension in the room always came from Charles Spencer's people, she revealed. The program will claim Earl Spencer wanted to walk alone behind Diana's coffin, but Prince Charles was adamant that he should join the procession. The rest of the funeral team felt William and Harry, then 15 and 12, should be there, too. However, William was refusing to join the procession, saying he wanted to grieve privately. Hoping to persuade William to change his mind, 5 days before the funeral on September 6, the team set up a telephone conference call with Balmoral via a big loudspeaker box on their conference table. "I can remember it sends a tingle up my back, actually," says Hunter. "We were all talking about how William and Harry should be involved, and suddenly from this box came Prince Philip's voice. We hadn't heard from him before, but he was really anguished. 'It's about the boys,' he cried, 'they've lost their mother.' I thought, my God, there's a bit of suffering going on up there. Meanwhile, Diana's chauffeur Colin Tebbit also talks on camera for the first time about what really happened in the hospital room when he and the princess's butler, Paul Burrell, arrived in Paris to collect her body. "I was worried about the room, which was very, very hot," he said. "We looked up at the window above the princess's bed and could see people on rooftops, trying to take photos. It didn't seem as if they knew which room to look for at that stage, and I asked for blankets to hang up at the window, so nobody could see in. This made the room even hotter, so Tebbit placed fans all around the princess's body to keep her cool. I noticed her hair was moving, which was the breeze from the fans, of course. But for just a fraction of a second I thought, is she alive, which was a silly thing to think. Having been on top of everything until then, I had to turn away and take 30 seconds to myself, as a personal emotional moment." Meanwhile, Paul Burrell revealed that he first knew something was wrong when he called Diana and she didn't answer. "Diana always had a mobile phone in her handbag, so I rang her phone and it rang and rang and rang, and I thought it's very strange because she always answers her phone," he recalled. Recalling the moment he saw the royal's body at the Petit-Salpêtrière hospital, he said, "I honestly thought, entering that room and looking at her, she is not really dead, it's just a joke, A very silly joke and you can wake up. Diana's private secretary reveals that as officials rushed to make arrangements for the funeral, they were initially worried they wouldn't have enough people to fill Westminster Abbey. There was no rule book to go to, no precedent, no tradition, nothing fitted the royal game plan, he said. I remember saying if you get hold of a guest list for the Princess Christmas drinks in 1995, invite everybody on that guest list and you won't have missed out anybody important. In the end there was certainly no problem with 2,000 people attending, but the pallbearers faced an additional challenge carrying Diana's 50-stone lead-lined coffin. Pallbearer Philip Bartlett recalled, "We got told we were going to try and simulate the weight with a curbstone. We were wearing metal studs and the Abbey's marble floor was like an ice skating rink.